just me in 2020. Back then, I was so goddamn low. And I had friends, you know, but they're back home, 300 kilometers west. I was at a university far away. I tried, you know, to make friends, join clubs, teams. But I always felt like kind of an outcast. And after a long enough time, I began to feel broken. I remember at my lowest, I was listening to Joji in the shower, in the dark. That's not generally behavior of someone who's all right. I was also in a program I hated, so I began to skip classes pretty much to wallow in my own room. I was also going through a long spell of dissociation. I have a video on that, go watch that. And all in all, I felt the most lonely, most outcast, most miserable I had ever felt. I felt hopeless, and I knew I wasn't on track to do anything useful with my degree, so I dropped out. What a disappointment, right? My friends, my family, they're all gonna be shaking their heads at me. Almost as big of a disappointment as this goddamn show. I hate The Last of Us Season 2. I'm gonna make a video about it just because I hate it so goddamn much. Why they gotta do that to Joel? Number one. Number two, Bella Ramsey is a great actress, but not the right casting, and Season 2, the writing is just so bad, I don't think anybody could carry that. Also, why does she look like that? Okay, I want to try this place out because it's got 4 stars. And 4 stars for an Asian place is 5 stars actually. I don't know if you guys know the metric system or whatever, but let's try it out. Do you have the barbecue pork fried rice? The barbecue pork fried rice? Do you have that? Pork fried rice? Yeah. We know that the president of Toronto Central Crisis. So how do you the financial sustainability of Canada Post while maintaining and supporting your workforce?
Yeah, I don't want anyone to think that we're just trying to fix Canada Post back on workers who are left in the career. We just need to make some changes to update our delivery model. We have postal service charters, that food was really good. You can't trust a Chinese place that has more than 4 stars. This one was 4 stars, so it was perfect. Any Chinese place that has 5 stars, man, you know that shit's not authentic. That's But yeah, that food fueled me, and I'm ready to go on this big, long-ass hike with this. I got a heavy-ass bag. If you want that authentic Chinese food, you gotta go for the 4.2 max, 3.5, maybe 3. In between that range, that's how you know that's some real immigrant, authentic Chinese food, and that's what you want. That barbecue pork was super delicious, very caramelized, got that sweet soy sauce glaze. The fried rice was all, oh my god, the color of that. Anyway, where was I with the story? Anyway, back then I was completely miserable. I felt like I was disappointing my family, my friends, myself, and I felt super hopeless. There was a silver lining though, that was I would be able to get back home and hang out with my friends again. But I think that level of loneliness for so long, it really changes you, and in a deep way that's really hard to explain, in a way that I think still affects me, and just that level of loneliness for so long I think affected my brain chemistry in a way it's hard to explain. Even when I began to hang out with my friends again, well, I almost tripped. I think I still had that pervasive feeling of loneliness, and I think what it was at the time was that I just felt like nobody could understand me, and as soon as the hangout would be over, I would have this huge drop in my mood, like, oh shit, I have to go back to being myself in my own company.
You wanna hear things changing course, smiles fade to grin. Now the moment's gone, just as I feared. And I was hoping this time.
I think something that took me some time to realize was that it wasn't just that I was lonely and needed a friend. It was that I hated spending time by myself, and just being alone was torture with my own thoughts. I think it's probably the kind of thing that starts brewing when you're little. Alan de Bolton talks about how these negative voices you have inside your head, they're sort of these things, these voices from other people that you've picked up over the years and internalized into your own. Like if someone was mean to you, then you just sort of kept on to that and started eventually believing it. And so at the core of all my interactions with others was this sort of sense of self-inadequacy. And when you operate from that state of lacking, at the time, I think I really hated who I was and just developed this self-hatred for myself. I didn't believe that I deserved anything. Friendships, relationships. I felt like the parts that people liked about me were just masks that I put on, and they didn't really know who I was, I guess. I think eventually the voices that you try to push away, the ones that tell you that people would be better off without you, they sort of become louder and become cement in your mind, and eventually just becomes part of your identity. Like, oh, I'm just sad and broken. That's just kind of who I am. But the way I think about it is, imagine if a friend came up to you and they talked to you about these sort of problems of self-inadequacy and what they believed about themselves. And obviously, you don't believe that about them because they're your friend and you love them and you think they're lovely and charming and funny. And it hurts you to sort of watch them hate themselves. I mean, what would you say to that friend, right? Look at this bug. Whoa. I think at the end of the day, it has to come from within. For me, it took a lot of time, a lot of goddamn time, of just sort of being quiet in my own presence to sort of get comfortable. Sort of little acts of self-love, like going on walks by yourself or cooking a nice meal or journaling or reading, these kinds of things, until I finally became more compassionate to myself, I think. And even now, to be honest, I have this voice in my head sometimes that pops up and goes, I'm sad and broken, blah, nobody likes me. But I know it's not true, and I sort of know what voice or reason to listen to. Self-love is the name of the game, and I think if you're able to achieve some of that, then friendships will just come along a lot easier. It's a very different sort of perspective if you're really chasing after friendships versus attracting them. And I'm not even that guy who like, you know, attract, don't, magnetic, build your garden instead of chasing butterflies. I mean, it is kind of true in this case, but that's not even exactly what I'm trying to say. It's more of a mindset shift. I think people can almost like smell it if you're desperate, and I definitely had a period of time where I was really trying to chase after just every single person I met, friendship wise, and people can sort of sense that. Even if you're surrounded by all the people in the world who love you, if you don't sort of cultivate that self-love, that self-compassion, that sense of pride, a little bit of confidence, if you don't cultivate that, then it can be a very lonely experience, no matter where you are. For the lonely people out there, I'm not saying that having one true friend who you can be honest with, and vulnerable with, and share your problems with, I'm not saying that can't completely change your world, but in the end of the day, I think if you don't develop that, if you don't cultivate a sort of self-compassion for yourself, then
there'll almost be no point. At some point, you need to start believing almost radically that you deserve it, you know? You deserve friendship, you deserve love, you deserve opportunities. And I think, depending on how you grow up, it can be a really challenging thing for a lot of people. Always worrying about what other people think of you instead of what you think of them, right? It takes time. You have a lot of work to do. But be kind to yourself. It sucks. I know.
But I was hoping you'd stay open this time. I know